Hello and welcome to the All Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, William Harris, aka William is Bill. And I'm so glad to be back with you guys for another great episode of the All Rookie Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to continue going through my big board, my rankings for the draft prospects for this 2026 NBA draft class. So far, we have been through 1 through 14, the lottery guys. We're going to make a little bit of a bigger jump today and go from 15 to 22 to introduce you to some more guys from this class that I think are highly touted, and they're doing a great job at the combine as well. The combine is going on right now this week. You've been hearing a lot of news and notes from it. For me personally, I don't overreact to the combine. Some guys are going to play well in the scrimmages. Some guys are going to measure better than others. For the most part, you're going to take this with a grain of salt unless something outrageous or egregious comes from it. But and like it may be some tiebreaker stuff that you can figure out with the combine. But for the most part, someone that's ranked 30th is not going to be moved up to 15th. Like that type of thing rarely happens. Maybe once a year, something like that happens. And someone ranked 5th, they shouldn't drop to 20th because of anything at the combine for the most part, unless it's something crazy health related. But, you know, we love the combine. We love getting the measurements and all that good stuff. But I'm just reminding you guys not to overreact. But like I said, 15 to 22 today. Let me recap 1 through 14 real quick, and we'll get right back into it. On my big board for the All Rookie Podcast, Darren Peterson is number 1. AJ Debonsa, number 2. Kingston Flemings, number 3. Michael Brown, number 4. Cam Boozer, number 5. Nate Ament, number 6. Caleb Wilson, number 7. Hans Steinbach, number 8. Yaxel Lindeborg, number 9. Keaton Wagler, number 10. Chris Sinak, 11. Darius Acuff, 12. Braden Burries, 13. And number 14, Ade Mara. All right, let's get into number 15 through 22. Number 15, a guy that is showing out right now at the combine. That did not affect this. I already had him here, believe it or not. Cameron Carr, my 15th ranked prospect, the 6'5" guard from Baylor. He is doing amazing things right now and through the season. So you just need to know my reasoning for him being here is what he did through the season. He is 21 years old. And if he was not 21 years old, he probably would have been a lot higher on this list, honestly. But he averaged 19 points, 5.5 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. Shot 51% from the field. That's amazing for a guard, especially a 6'5" guard. Shot 39.4% from 3. So if you watch the tape, nothing in the combine is surprising. But he is a super athletic guard, an elite shooter, and it's very hard to find that combination. He's a tremendous three-point shooter, can get to the rim, create for himself, mainly uses athleticism on fast breaks. Otherwise, he's usually playing methodically in the half court or getting to his spot or getting to his position to score, whether it's a 3 or to be able to drive through the lane. Now, Cam Carr has very long arms. You notice that on his finger rolls and when he contests shots. He does not play with super speed or anything, but he can still get to work where he needs to be, going to the rim, getting to the paint. He looks for his spots and uses screens to score, as well as getting open for the 3, and he can shoot off the dribble. Cam has super long range as well. He could be a guy, like, because there was talk that he would be in the 20s, and I was thinking he could be a sleeper in this draft, but he will not be anymore. But, you know, there's guys like Keyshawn George that fell in the draft. He could be like him, but Keyshawn George is 6'8", and he's 6'5". But there's no reason Cam shouldn't be taken in the teens. His path to the rim looked a little too easy at times in college, so it will be tougher in the NBA, more congested. That's my only real concern with him, but he's a shooter, so he'll be fine regardless. He may need to improve in the paint. His finesse finger rolls won't be so easy in the next level, but he's a good rebounding guard, good defender, average a steal and a block per game, holds his own when being back down, great shot contester, And like I said, the only other negative is his age at 21 years old. So Cameron Carr, my number 15th ranked prospect from Baylor. Now, number 16, Dalen Swain, a 6'8" from Texas, 6'8", 225 pounds. He's 20 years old. Averaged 18 points, 7.5 boards, 3.4 assists, 1.7 steals, shot 55% from the field, and 34.5% from three. Now, Dalen Swain is 6'8". That's great size, the ideal 3-and-D forward for your team that everyone is looking for. He can get to the rack on his own with skill and not just speed. He has nice handles and a wiggle to get to his spots. Uses his moves and knows how to use his body well to get to the rack. He's definitely a first-round talent. He may be a bench player or role player in the NBA, but those guys are still very useful because, averaging 18 in Texas is not necessarily mean you're going to be a number one scorer in the NBA. A lot of guys like that sometimes are averaging 10 points in the NBA, but being very impactful. He's athletic and scoring multiple ways. And like I said, he may have less usage in the NBA, which will limit his role offensively, but he's a very capable defender as well. He loves the hesitation / crossover, loves to hit you with the misdirection, has good soft touch in the paint, always keeps his head up to make great passes in transition. He's incredible at getting steals with his anticipation and quick hands. Great help defender, great size and agility to translate to a good defender in the NBA. He's a solid three-point shooter. Of course, you want to get that a little bit better. He's slightly above average, which is doable. And you want a little bit better. But great rebounder. He had the game-winning block to advance in the tournament. He's not the smoothest player offensively, but still a very good offensive player. He could just be a little tougher and will have to improve on his handles and fluidity in the NBA. And I think he'd be a really nice player for a team. Think of a guy like Peyton Watson. He's not that much of a defender as Peyton Watson, but he is better of a scorer. But, he has that size to help a team. So I'll give you a better comp later, but that's just the first thing that comes to mind. So Peyton Watson would be considered a role player, but you see how impactful he is. All right, so that was my number 16, Dalen Swain. Number 17, Isaiah Evans, a 6'6" guard from Duke. Averaged 15 points, 3 boards, a steal, a block, 43% from the field, 36% from three, and he's a great three-point shooter. Now, Isaiah Evans was lingering around the draft last year. He decided to go back to Duke. As a freshman, he only played 14 minutes per game. He doubled that as a sophomore and was able to show all he could do. Isaiah is a very smooth finisher, but he also can throw it down. Great three-point shooter. That's his main quality, but he can do other things. Many Duke players are better in the NBA than they were in college, and it's kind of surprising, but it's been happening a lot lately. So he has potential for that as well. But even if he doesn't, you have that shooting. Isaiah has great size at 6'6", and I do think he could have done more at Duke. Being a great shooter with really good athleticism should lead to a really nice NBA career. He's capable of being better, but I don't think he's anywhere near reaching his peak from what we've seen at Duke right now. He has a low floor but a very high ceiling. That means he's going to come in and be, at worst, average. But what he can be, that's a great future. He can drive to the rack. Most shooters can't really do that, but he uses his size, length, and athleticism to be a really good defender as well. I would love to see him get a few more moves and add to his bag to finish better in the paint, but everything else should translate just fine. Has a super quick release, can pull up from anywhere he wants. He's much improved from last year. He is truly a lethal shooter out there. Would love to see him drive to the rack more often and perfect his one-on-one game a little more. But there's definitely a role for him in the NBA right now with that elite shooting, especially if he develops more. That's just going to be the icing on the cake for Isaiah Evans at number 17. All right, number 18, a guy that is very high on a lot of players. Big board, LeBaron Philon from Alabama. Scouted him last year as well. He decided to come back for another year at Alabama, and he performed very well. 6'4", 20 years old, averaged almost 22 points per game, 3 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 50% from the field, 40% from 3. He's an old school, flashy and one type of point guard. He'll cross you over and lose his defender with ease. He could possibly say he has the best handles in his class. His handles are just filthy out there. Very fast, can stop on a dime. And normally this type of player cannot shoot. He's shooting 40% from 3. That's kind of unheard of. He's a big-time scorer, but he is very skinny. And his style of play is not exactly being sought after right now. But the three-point shooting and assist should definitely give him a strong chance to transfer his skill to the NBA. Also, his height. He's not short, so his style of play may work against him, but he has everything else working for him. He plays a little more finesse and below the rim, even though he's 6'4". But my only concern with him right now is his weight. That could cause him to sit a year, possibly in the G League, because he's like really skinny. He may get knocked around. I don't know if he's ready to come in right now. Like it says he's 185 pounds, but he looks 160 pounds out there. So he may have to change his style of play at least a little bit and not be so ball dominant in the NBA. But that's coaching. You know, he has a mean step back, really nice floater, makes some elite passes out there, sets his teammates up in great positions to score. Sometimes he waits until he's doubled to pass, but when doubled, he does make the correct pass. So he just he may need to pass a little bit sooner or think pass first in the NBA. But LeBaron Philon is a really good prospect. I just couldn't have him much higher than 18. I could see him maybe 15 to 20 range in the draft. But he's got some things to work on and before he's ready to step on the court day one and contribute, I believe. But I mean, bright future. All right, number 19, I have Henry Versar, the big man from Carolina, 7-footer, 225 pounds. Almost averaged a double-double, 17 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 0.6 steals, and 1 block per game. 61% from the field, 42% from 3. You heard me right, a 7-footer, 42% from 3. Great pick and roll big, can back down in the post and even hit a jump hook. Really good size, showed he can shoot the ball even from 3. Gets really good position and catches. If he catches you lacking, it's going to be over for you. He's a great screen setter, has some nice post moves. He's not the fastest, but he's very effective. Great size, really good rebounder, always working on defense, great shot contester, really good defender in the post. Henry Versar is a legit offensive threat. Excellent scorer, shooter, and rebounder. Runs the floor very well for a big. Great pick and roll big. Has a great post game. You can tell he has a plan out there. He isn't just winging it in the post. And you'd be surprised. A lot of bigs do that. You can tell by watching them. But that could be because of his experience. You know, he is a senior. No, he was 21 years old. Excuse me. He could have returned, I heard. I think he was a junior. I'll have to get back to you on that. But you can tell from his experience that he knows what he's doing out there and he has a true post game. Goes up strong when going to the basket, and he's attacking the rim. Provided excellent defense in the post for Carolina. Really nice lob threat. He's not huge in weight, but he plays like he is. He's very strong, but also has a nice touch and finesse to his game. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to have a Maxime Reynaud type of impact and presence on the team, especially with his excellent three-point shooting. And it was on 3 attempts per game as well. It wasn't just like he shot 10 threes all season, you know. But I would love for him to get more blocks per game. He only averaged 1 block per game, but he can still be a nice defensive presence. He's moved his feet very well, works very hard out there. His size, strength, and footwork will allow him to defend well in the NBA. Henry Versar is a really promising prospect that you should take note of. All right, next on my list. Number 20, Christian Anderson, the 6'3" guard from Texas Tech. 18.5 points, 3.5 boards, 7.4 assists. Love that. 1.5 steals. Love that. 47% from the field, 41.5% from three. 20 years old. Christian Anderson, great college point guard. He plays a style that's not really looked highly upon either. Very flashy out there. He's a one-on-one player and ball dominant. But he has great handles, can get wherever he wants on the court, even against heavy pressure. He's never really pressured. You know, when some guys get doubled or trapped, they kind of freak out. He's always under control, never really pressured. Great shooter, really good assist man as well, and that could set him apart. He's clutch, never scared of the moment, great at getting steals. If he lands on the right team, he can be really good. But if he's not the man and has to play a role, I wonder how Christian Anderson will be effective in the NBA. Now, his shooting and passing should make him successful regardless, but he may have to play a different type of style in the NBA if he's not the main focus. And especially if you're getting picked anywhere from 15 to 30, you're on a better team. So normally you're not coming in to start. But he looks smaller than 6'3" out there, but he does a lot well. But I also question how it would translate. Like I said, he plays a little bit like Trey Mann in college. And trust me, Trey Mann was amazing in college. It hasn't really worked out how we hoped in the NBA. That doesn't mean it will be like that for Christian Anderson. But he reminds me of him, just a little bit shorter. Both are lethal three-point shooters. Christian's a better passer. Trey is a better rebounder. Numbers were very similar in college. And, you know, Trey has been on teams where he was not the starter and kind of got lost in the shuffle. And that's why the landing spot is so key for Christian Anderson. So I don't want that to happen to him. 21 on my list, Jaden Quaintance, the 6'10" big from Kentucky. Average, look at these numbers. 5 points, 5 boards, a half steal, almost 1 block per game in 17 minutes per game. Now you say, well, those are terrible numbers. That is true, but he did only play 5 games this year, and he shot 57% from the field, by the way. But yes, he played 5 games this year due to injury. So you can't take much from this season to project in the NBA. You have to go by his previous year at Arizona State, where he averaged 9 points, 8 boards, 1 steal, and 2.5 blocks. Now, you have to imagine when he went to Kentucky, those numbers would be similar, possibly better. You know his frame, 6'10", 255, his ability, and his age. He's 18 years old and a sophomore. He played in college as a 17-year-old last year. Jaden is a real big that can actually dribble, get to the rack himself, has a nice spin move in the paint, and he can be the ultimate finisher for a team, especially if you have a really good point guard. You just got to get on the ball in the paint, and he's throwing it down. He's not really a shooter, but I love how he can dribble the ball a bit. He's a pick-and-roll big. He can also back down his man with brute strength and to get a bucket, but most of his production will be him being in the right spot and getting the rebound or a good pass out there. He's going to blow by his man or back you down with force. No real post moves yet, but can be a valuable hustle rebounder and defender for teams. May never be a shooter, but he still can be effective as a finisher at the rim in the NBA, especially with all his movement and hustle. And considering he only played 5 games, I don't think he should enter the draft this year. Like, he could possibly go back to school, but he's going to enter the draft. There's no doubt about it. And he will be drafted in the top 20, pretty much a guarantee. But I do feel he's pretty raw offensively out there. But he's fully developed defensively, and he's ready to go. So he can be a dominant defender in the league, average almost 3 blocks a game as a freshman at 17. Very fast for a big, so he can keep up with the ball and recover well if his man gets by him. Long arms. His arms look like they're made for blocking shot. He has a knack for finding the ball. Seems like he's having more fun on defense than offense. Great wingspan. I love how he stays on his feet. Discipline. Doesn't jump for everything. Great switch defender. Can get switched out on point guards or be in the paint with centers, and he can stay with either. So I think he is a great young projecting center, and the NBA loves that. 18-year-old bigs that can do the things Jaden Quaintance does is like all green flags for NBA teams. So that's why he's at 21 for me. Now, for my final player on 15 through 22, Morez Johnson Jr., the 20-year-old from Michigan. He's 6'9", 250 pounds, 13.7 boards, almost a steal, and 1 block per game. Shot 62% from the field, 36.4% from three. That's right, from a 6'9" big. Love that. Morez Johnson, college champion with Michigan as well. This is our third Michigan prospect in the top 22. But he's a great mover without the ball. Makes himself available for lobs and easy buckets at the rim. He's more of a traditional power forward, which is really lacking in the NBA. But he has real nice post moves. Big body power forward. He really can play in the post and back his man down. He can shoot in the post with a fadeaway or a hook shot. But what makes him different is he can shoot from three as well. That adds another element to his game. You can give him the ball in the paint and get out of the way, or he can pop out beyond the perimeter and shoot the three. And he has a plethora of post moves. That's what I like to see. Not just a big that needs to be set up for a dunk, but he can do that as well, of course. But it's just good to know he can get the ball and get in a position to score on his own, and he doesn't just have to be in the dunker spot. So whether it's pump fakes or using his body and strength to back you down, Morez is going to be ready for you. He's not fancy, but it will be very effective for any team that picks him up. Really good rebounder, especially on offensive rebounds. And you got to think about it. He was a champion with the Wolverines. Ademar, Yaxel Lindeborg, both great rebounders. So he's shared the court with two other great rebounders, and he still averaged 7 boards per game. The boards were spread out. But I think he would have definitely averaged a double-double if he was not on Michigan. And you probably would look at him a little different because his numbers would be much better. But I think all three of those guys sacrificed a little bit to win the championship. And if you're really paying attention and really scouting the way you should, Morez Johnson should not slip any further than 22 in this class. And, if you want to make a comparison, he's similar to Isaiah Stewart. Don't think of Isaiah Stewart now with the Pistons. He basically is not considered much of anything offensively. But in college, Isaiah Stewart could shoot the three, actually. That's what happens to a lot of players. You get into the NBA, and if you're not a star, you kind of have to find a role and perfect it. So that could happen to Morez. We don't know. But Morez shoots it better and more often than Isaiah Stewart did, but they're exact same height and weight and style of play when they were in college. So, and we do know Isaiah Stewart is a valuable player in the NBA, and I think Morez Johnson could be, of course, a valuable player, but potentially even better because his offensive game should allow him to do more than Isaiah Stewart does right now. So that was 15 to 22. Glad I got to get that out. I want to keep getting next episode 23 through 30. So you guys can get up all caught up on all the prospects that I have projected for the first round. And we can do the second round. We can keep going. You want to do a third round? Let's do that. No, I do think there should be a third round in the draft just for the teams that did not make the playoffs. That's an idea. Throw that out to Adam Silver. Tell him I sent you. All right. So let me recap 15 to 22. Hope you enjoyed this list of my big board rankings, 15 to 22. They were 15, Cam Carr, 16, Dalen Swain, 17, Isaiah Evans, LeBaron Feiline, 18, Henry Vassar, 19, Christian Anderson, 20, 21, Jaden Quaintance, 22, Morez Johnson. And I'm telling you, it came down to the last minute who was going to be 21 and 22. Because there is a grouping of players probably from 19 to 27 that's pretty interchangeable. It's a lot of good talent in that area and a lot of guys that have this guy's lacking this guy's lacking this, but this guy has this guy has it. So like in position wise, all that good stuff. So it's jumbled up in here. So if you're in a dynasty league or something like that, and you have anywhere from pick 17 to 30, don't feel bad if you have one of those closer to 30 because it's the same type of talent. So that's my rankings. I'll be back with you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out with me at the All Rookie Podcast. Follow us at Sports Ethos and at William is Bill. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you next time. I'm out of here. Peace.